Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Title IX podcast on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Alisa Woods. Hi, Alisa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We are both Mondaying
We're Mondaying hard.
real hard.
Oh, boy. Well, we, of course, are brought to you by the Ivy College of Business at Iowa State, our longtime sponsor. And the entire podcast network is fueled by Cody Road, which we are not drinking on this Monday.
I promise.
Yet.
Yes.
It's good to see you. And before we do anything else, Alisa, I want to wish you a happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
Was it everything your hopes and dreams were made of?
Yeah, I tried my hardest not to puke the whole day. No, I just got really
because
sick.
She was hungover.
Yeah, I wish it was that. But I just got really sick on Saturday night and then was just kind of cautious all Sunday. So just getting back to it today.
They just don't ring the same when
I
you
know.
get older.
Here's the thing. Both me and my daughter do this. We get really sick right before big events. She got really sick before her Valentine's Day party at school and had to stay home for it. She's done it for Thanksgiving. I've caught her puke at the Thanksgiving table more than
nothing
once.
says Thanksgiving dinner like catching your kid's puke.
I know. It's just before I don't tell her about big events because somehow I think that'll keep her from getting sick, but it doesn't matter. We just have impeccable timing.
I've known this about you for a long time. Yeah. You're not being hyperbolic. This actually happens.
No, this is a thing. Both Rosa and I do this. And it's there was nothing I could have done about this. I'm telling you, I lost 3 pounds in less than 24 hours. I was
not the healthy way.
And I don't take this lightly. I was violently ill. Arnold asked if he needed to take me to the emergency room, and I was like, I don't think I'll make it. So we did not.
I'm sorry, that really stinks.
It's okay. I'm rehydrating today. Just chilling. All I have to do is bake today, and so no one has to see me except for, I guess, on this. Sorry, guys.
Everybody watching.
My bad,
guys. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm sorry it was the way it was, but hopefully you can reset and have a good week.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, did you get all your freebies? We've talked about this for a few years on the pod.
Got Starbucks, got Caribou, got Krispy Kreme for the kids. They used to give you a whole dozen at Krispy Kreme, and now they only give you 3, which
in this economy.
I know. I'm sure they're just making money hand over foot now that they're only giving out 3. But I'm trying to sort out my crumble one. So hopefully I can pick that up today. And then Jersey Mike's, it's good for a year.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I love Jersey Mike's.
I think Athleta gave me 250 points, which is good for about $2.50.
Excellent. I got Krispy Kreme.
Yep. Got
dropped
5
from a dozen to 3.
Yep. Got 5% off at Target.
There's just no one I know that loves birthday freebies more than
I know.
You.
Oh,
that is your claim to fame.
Ulta and Sephora got those too. Yeah.
Way to do it, girl. Even despite your violent illness, you nailed it.
I did.
You're an inspiration to us all.
Thank you.
Well, Alisa and I were talking before the pod, and we realized that we kind of set up our podcast our outlines the same way today without talking. So if you've been listening in the last year or so, you know we like to do the winners and losers. And I think our whole podcast is going to be kind of like winners and losers set up that way. So be prepared. I thought we should start out with the Iowa State men's basketball team in our winners and losers segment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big winner here is the Iowa State men's basketball team for a lot of different reasons. But
yes,
I guess as I was preparing for the podcast today, I kind of went into it with, regardless of what happens against Houston, I feel like we're on a roll. We could lose by 20 Monday night against Houston, and I feel like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It matters, but you know what I mean.
Right. We're recording this on Monday during the day.
Yes.
And so no one will probably hear this until tomorrow, unless Aiden gets this up real quick.
Which he might, because he's a
he might.
superstar.
Yeah, he is. I said that and I was like, actually, yeah, Aiden will probably get it up. So if by chance you're listening to this tomorrow, because that's just what you do on every other Tuesday is listen to us, the game will have already happened. Hopefully we are winners, but yeah, we can't, there's no horrible implications of losing this
it feels
game.
like this is one of those games where you go in, you win, and like,
Yeah.
but if you lose, you're a 10-point underdog on the road in the Big 12, whatever.
Right.
I mean, it just seems to me that Iowa State men's basketball has proven itself. It feels like Otts has these guys completely locked in. Rob Jones has become this version of himself that no one could have ever imagined, leading fast breaks. Like, what? And the defense.
Yeah.
It's no surprise. We
Yeah.
know that Otts teams are capable of suffocating defense, but I kind of assumed this year that the offense would take a step up and the defense would take a step back.
Yeah.
I think the defense has continued right along that same intensity, and the offense has stepped up. So it's just been, it's so much fun to watch. I went and looked back against Texas Tech. Iowa State scored 28 points off of 16 Texas Tech turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State only had 6 turnovers, and Texas Tech had no points off of those 6 turnovers. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to win you games in the Big 12. And I feel like they've figured out the formula to winning these games.
So if you think back in our history, the name Chris Babb pops up as like an incredible, amazing defensive.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Also a babe. But
yes, you're right.
We have more than one Chris Babb on our team now.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, like. Alisa.
And we are suffocating, like you said. I think that, we have the possibility to win tonight. There's nothing that says that we can't win. The things that we have to do, Momcilovic needs to actually like look for his shot. Yeah. That's the one thing there's 2 things. Free throws. And Momcilovic just has a tendency, and he's young, but has a tendency to just disappear in games.
Yeah.
And he is so insanely good. He is better than we thought he was going to be. He just needs to realize that. And he needs to realize he's good. He needs to realize he can create his own shot. He can't just hang out on the wings, waiting for the ball, waiting for that 3-point shot. He needs to create his own shot because, yes, he's a great 3-point shooter, but he's so incredible off the dribble. He's so good. His like turnaround jump shot, his fadeaway jump shot, so good. And he needs to create.
And every time he does one of those fadeaway turnarounds, I am in awe, like total awe.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like it's possible. He doesn't look like, he's creating the space that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And the free throws are a major Achilles
heel. Yes.
Yeah. Man.
Why are we on the same page here?
Well, that tends to happen here. It's just hard to watch, especially in close games. And especially down the stretch when those big giant leads tend to dwindle a little bit. However, if not every team, most teams are going to have an Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And if that's ours, but you got to make up for it.
And you watch the women's team, and for a lot of those free throw shooters, they don't even stay to rebound, which for me is a little bit like, okay, just trust them to hustle back. But maybe they don't think the law of averages says just don't even try and rebound. I would like to see the women's team be a little more aggressive on rebounds in general. But what I'm saying is they're shooting free throws and they don't even stand at the line. Like it's just the other team standing there waiting for rebounds because they make it so often.
Let's talk about that for a second. So before I get to my loser as it relates to men's basketball, The other winner I had for Iowa State basketball is the overtime win for the women against number 7 Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, Alisa, what won that game in large part was the just insane amount of free throws that were made down the stretch. And by freshmen, Addie Brown was locked in at the line. There was not a moment when she looked nervous. She looked like those puppies were going in, every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference in a lot of these games. And the women have that part of it absolutely figured out.
Yeah, definitely. My winner, do you want to hear my winner?
Yes.
Okay. My winner is Isabel Nosen with the softball team, the Iowa State softball team. She hit a home run on her first ever career home run. I mean, because it was her first ever career at bat.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, college career, but isn't that crazy? Also, first at bat, home run.
Childhood dreams are made of right there.
Right?
That's really cool.
Like, how does it get better? And the ISU team, softball team's on a winning streak, 3-game winning streak. Overall, right now they're 6-3. Obviously playing a lot of away games because
that's the hard part about Iowa State softball.
Yeah, but really they've only played one away game, and the rest of them, the other 8 have been like a neutral site. So it's tough, but yeah, they're playing well, and I think they're going to be fun to watch. They lost pretty heavily to number 11 Duke, but then they came back and lost 4-8 to number 7 Washington. And so it's like, and the rest of them have been like unranked teams. Yeah, the rest of them have been unranked teams. But I think that this team has the ability to play with the big dogs. I think it could be a fun team.
It's hard because this time of year, it's February here. It's cold. There's snow on the ground. We're still in the heart of basketball season, and it's hard to switch over to softball. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. And they're fun to follow on socials. So do that.
My gosh. They're maybe the best. Volleyball's good. Yeah. Gymnastics is good. But I think Iowa State softball might have the most fun social media follow.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you turned me on to that a couple years ago.
It's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Okay, my loser as it relates to men's basketball is every last one of you who thought the TJ Otzelberger hire was a bad hire. I hope you are just eating your words right now, and I hope they're nice and salty.
I have seen that drop off quite a bit.
You think? I just remember everyone being like, "This is such a homer hire," and I was like, "Well." Yeah. Why is that a bad thing? This guy loves what he does. He's the most intense human I've ever met in my life. He showed himself to be a great recruiter when he was an assistant coach. And he's continued that. That's not fallen off in the slightest.
No. I mean, if other teams take an assistant coach, why can't we take an assistant coach as a head coach? Like, that's how it works. At least we didn't take the son of our coach.
Anyways, just gonna let that sit right there. My loser as it relates to Iowa State women's basketball is the unfortunate loss to Texas over the weekend. So Iowa State takes down number 7 Kansas State at home earlier in the week, and then over the weekend go down to play at number 5 Texas. So it's an away Big 12 game. Those are always tough. But what stinks about the loss the most is that we had whittled Texas's lead down to 5 points late in the third quarter. So we're going into the fourth quarter with a single-digit deficit. Somehow we lost by 21 points.
Yeah.
And that deficit went from 5 to 8, and all of a sudden it was 19.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of a little bit of a momentum killer for a team that really was coming off of a high and needed a momentum boost continuing to the final couple of weeks of the Big 12 season. So
it's tough.
I don't know.
We talked about how the Big 12 is such a gauntlet and the teams are so good, but they basically played like another quarter in the overtime, double overtime game. And that's tough. It is tough. You're not prepared for that. It's a lot of running, young legs.
Well, that's the other thing is, it's tough. They were on a rough losing streak right there.
Yeah.
And then you go into that emotional and physical high. Then you turn around and have to get down to Texas. So I'm not I'm not even necessarily being critical. I just worry about, does that 21-point loss heading into the last 4 games of the Big 12 season have a longer lasting effect than maybe a single digit loss would have? I don't know.
Yeah.
We go down to Houston on Wednesday. Then we have to turn around and play a top 10 Kansas State in Manhattan. And then we have a couple of more home games to round out the season. So I looked this morning. We are, according to the bracketology, the last 4 in right now. And I just would love to pick your brain. I think that's appropriate for what it's worth. As things stand today, I think that's appropriate. If we go on a 4-game winning streak to end the Big 12 season, I don't think we're on that bubble anymore. If things turn sideways and we go on a losing streak, who knows?
Yeah.
But my question to you is, if we don't make the tournament, do you feel like that's a season where we underachieved, or do you think that was expected?
I think it's a season where we underachieved, and it's not necessarily because these players underachieved. I think that it has to do with the way that the Big 12 is this year. I think it has to do with like the injuries to Emily and Nye.
Yes.
Like, I think that the leaders of this team not being able to play a chunk of games really has hurt us. I think that if they're healthy and they're playing, then it's I don't know, I think it's just a different story. And so I wouldn't say it's a letdown because of this team or their coaches. I think it's a letdown because I just think they could have given people a run for money in the tournament. And I was saying that kind of mid-season, like, give us anybody right now, you know?
And then it just kind of fell off.
And it's just the story of like circumstances, not so much the story of skill, because we have such insane skill on this team and the ceiling is so high with these freshmen. It's just the circumstances, I think, are disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly well said. And obviously, depending on what happens, it's, we'll have time to compose our thoughts and get some real perspective. But I just started thinking, man, it's been a while since we didn't expect an Iowa State women's team to be in the tournament. And I expect this team to, and there's still time. And again, we're listed as last 4 in right now. So that's where we are. But I just was curious about your thoughts about that.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. I don't think I've really thought much about it. Do I think this team deserves to be in the tournament? Absolutely. Do I think that they're better than a good chunk of the teams that are going to make the tournament? Absolutely. I just think that the circumstances are rough.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, we'll see. Still some time to make their case for it, for sure.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. So the downside of recording every 2 weeks is that when something like the Super Bowl happens, we don't get to give you our instant reactions to it.
Yeah.
The upside is that we get an extra week to compose our thoughts. So that's where I am.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of winners and losers within the umbrella of the Super Bowl.
Okay. So I want to start off because I think that there will be a Taylor Swift.
What do you mean?
Mention.
Yes.
I just think. But I want to start off by telling you a little Taylor Swift thing that I saw. So there's a billboard for Quick Trip on 235 as you're going 235 west.
Okay.
As you're just coming into town from Ankeny, and people who go this way will know very often, it's right where it drops from 65 to 60. Right before Euclid. There's a billboard, and it's a Quick Trip billboard, and it says "In my croissant era," and it has like the little pastel squares over like Quick Trip food and stuff. And I saw that one time, and I was like, that looks so familiar. What is that from? Like, what is that a play on? And then finally, I realized that it's a Taylor Swift thing.
It sure is. The Taylor Swift effect is real.
Yeah. But I was kind of surprised that they're allowed to use that.
They probably aren't.
Right. Ask for forgiveness, not for
That's
permission.
Right. That's exactly right. My boss she gave me a small thank you gift for something. And she said she had really wanted to get me the Taylor Swift the lipstick she wears, but it's been
Oh,
sold out for months and months and months. She
dang.
found it
What
on
brand
eBay
is
for
it?
like, I'll have to look. I know the
Okay.
color and everything, but she said
Yeah.
she found it on eBay, but the cheapest it was like $150. And she's like, I'm
Oh
not
my
like, you don't mean
gosh.
that much to me. But the point is, the Taylor Swift effect is real.
That's
So it's, yeah.
hilarious.
And I don't know if you saw, but I'm sure you did. The Super Bowl was the most watched televised event in history. And I think the female viewership
Because
was
of Brock Purdy.
because of Brock Purdy. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Just so we're on the same page.
But the viewership of women was a huge part of that. And obviously, every year the Super Bowl is going to draw a lot of women just because it's an event. It's not necessarily, it's a cultural event, right? We all agree. But this year, it's hard for me to say that didn't have something to do with Brock Purdy and also Taylor Swift. You know, there were a lot of, I saw a lot of videos after the fact of pictures of just dads watching, like last year when the Chiefs won. These are Chiefs fans versus this year, it's entire families watching. And I just think that's really special. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are sick of seeing her face. And you know how I feel about you. Get a life. However, there was a really cool cultural impact, especially when it came to women and young girls. So I will forever be grateful for that.
And we've talked about this before, that women are the fastest growing demographic of sports fans and have been for years because there is so much space to grow. Like, it's sports are like a quote unquote men's thing.
Yes.
In history, they have been a quote unquote men's thing. And so as women's interests grow, as people, women are realizing, actually, like, I can like something that society has told me is just for somebody who's not me. I can actually like that thing.
Yes.
And that's okay. And I think that the NFL has done everything it can to capitalize on that growing demographic. They have tried everything, be it good or bad. What I would like them to try is to be a little harsher on domestic violence.
Oh gosh.
Within
sister.
the community. I think that they lucked out with Taylor Swift here, but I think that if they want to keep this demographic of women, especially young girls, children, I think they need to get their SHIT together and be a little harsher on domestic violence within the NFL players. They just need to. They need to be
for
accountable.
a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. I mean, you could say, oh, women aren't watching this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but men are, and men are the ones domestically violent. Like,
and also women are watching. I mean, we know that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
Anyway,
and
my thoughts.
No. It's a moment. It's like one of those moments in time, like where you take a path, you pick your path, and we're on that moment. And it kind of feels like this renaissance movement of women in sports. And I'm not just talking about female athletes. I'm talking about fans and influencers and everything. And all of it has to shift, including that. So you're right about that. Speaking of Taylor Swift, one of my winners was Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, because I just thought about the week they had. So Taylor goes in, wins a few Grammys. No big deal. And then Travis goes and wins a damn Super Bowl. Like, what? Can you think of a better couple of weeks for a couple? Because it's hard for me to, what can top that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like this beautiful storybook ending. And I kept, Brooke Johnson
and I
would
Purdy would have won, no.
But not for them. Like, not for them.
But storybook.
For them. I have thoughts about Brock Purdy.
Okay.
So another winner is another Iowa State alum, not Brock Purdy. My dear friend Brad G, who is executive for the Chiefs, who now has 3 Super Bowl rings in 5 years before the age of 40. And I'm just super proud of him.
Did you see him?
Super proud of him. Yeah.
Did you see him on the sideline? Okay. I thought that I saw him at one point and I was like, wait.
My dad called me yesterday, and I don't know why this came up to him yesterday, 2 weeks after a week after the Super Bowl. Sorry, a week after the Super Bowl, and said, "Hey, I've been meaning to tell you, I saw Brad a lot after they won. It's like, thanks, Dad. Thanks for that little nugget. Anyways,
No, I
super
think
proud
I saw
of
him during the game.
You probably did.
Okay.
Probably did. But yeah, so he's one of my main winners of the podcast. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Brock Purdy. Okay. I think first of all, the Chiefs are the real winners. They're now back-to-back champions. They've gone from this team who everybody kind of loved. Patrick Mahomes is this lovable guy to suddenly they're the villains, I think. Like they're the dynasty. So now they have that target on their back. But what I thought was so cool for Patrick Mahomes is you go into that overtime and they have an opportunity to win the game with a touchdown. And I feel like everybody knew, oh, this sucker's over.
Yeah.
And what a legacy for Patrick Mahomes to have already. However, I thought that Brock played a nearly perfect game. And it seems to me like he finally won everybody over. And it took way too long, but I feel like he did it. And I would love I maybe am skewed because I was so far into the like loving what happened from my perspective as a Chiefs fan, but it just seemed to me like he did not get unfairly harassed after that game like he has in previous games throughout the season.
No, I mean, Christian McCaffrey fumbled. Jason Kittle barely existed in the game.
George Kittle?
Jason Kittle.
Jason Kelce, George
Jason, yeah. George Kittle like barely existed in the game. McCaffrey came back and had a really, really good game and probably would have he probably wouldn't have been the MVP if they would have won, but other players on the team definitely stepped up in the absence of Kittle, but there was just nothing that you could say was definitely Brock Purdy's fault. Their kicker missed an extra point.
That was it, really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that was it because I think that then instead of going for the field goal, I think that the Chiefs would have gone for the touchdown, and there was probably a good chance that they would have gotten that. So, but I mean, it was the difference, they ended up going into overtime. If they would have had one more point, then they would have won
the game.
But and there just was nothing that you could say that Brock Purdy did wrong. And I think that like finally it was like, I don't know, they found a different villain, it's now.
That's a good point. Why he was never the villain in the first place doesn't make sense.
I do not understand like the hate for Brock Purdy. What is going on? And my phone is blowing up. They're trying to call the ambulance for me. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, those are my thoughts, that there was nothing that you could point to. I saw a video of him and his, I think, fiance now, going into like the after party, and he looked just so sad.
I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. And I just wanted to give him a little snug.
I felt like from a totally selfish perspective that was like, I wanted Brock to have a game where it was like a respectable game where people couldn't point to him and say, look, we told you so. But meanwhile, the Chiefs won. And so I got my selfish wish. And I just want to say, one of my losers from the Super Bowl is all of you a-holes out there for giving me hell for cheering for the Chiefs. I love Brock Purdy. I've been a huge Brock Purdy supporter, but I love the Chiefs. And so what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
I know. Yeah.
I wished him the best.
It's a conundrum.
I didn't want him to fail.
Yeah.
But I wanted the Chiefs to win. So get over it, people. I am who I am.
People don't like to see other people be happy, I think is part of it. Also, let's point out that Jimmy Garoppolo, America's sweetheart, when he was playing for the 49ers, everybody loved him. Got suspended for using PEDs. Oh, guess who's not using PEDs? Brock Purdy.
There you go. I did not particularly enjoy the halftime show. That was one of my losers out of the Super Bowl.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I mean, he sang all his songs. He did his little roller skating thing that I
What
was
the
like,
hell
okay,
were
go
the roller
ahead.
skates?
The roller skate is like a cultural, like a Black cultural thing. It's
Is it
very
really?
big. Oh yeah.
Like now
Very
in
big.
2024?
It's always been for many, many years, and it's having like a resurgence now.
Okay,
But
forgive
yes,
me for
it's
my ignorance. I had no idea.
yeah.
To me,
That's like definitely a cultural, like a Black
okay,
cultural
because
thing.
I looked at that and thought, like, what the hell have I been transported back to 7th grade?
No,
Which,
that's
I mean, to
yeah.
be fair, like, that's kind of when he reached his peak, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, so for me, it was just a throwback to, but I was like, I don't, okay. But now
Oh,
this makes
no.
sense.
Yeah. No, definitely big, like, Black cultural thing. Uh, uh,
Wait, to explain this, educate
it's
us on
so
this.
they, like, kind of dance on roller skates, and they would just, like, go to the roller rinks and skate
But I need
around,
to know if
and
this is happening now in 2024.
yeah, it is, yes.
This is
Skate
amazing. I had
South,
no idea.
yeah,
Okay, well, I
yeah.
learned something new today, and forgive me for not knowing that.
Yeah, no, it's
So
having
I
a big, like, resurgence, just, like, roller skating in general, is having a resurgence, but especially in the Black community.
well, you will
It's
not find me on roller skates because I don't wanna break my ass.
I know. I know. I saw some videos of, like, people being like, "Oh, this is probably what he was, like, learning." And it's like, "No, he probably knew how."
Wow, I
But
had no
yeah.
idea.
No, I loved it, and I love him. Alicia Keys, oh, that first note.
Okay, in good or bad way?
Bad. Her first note was way off,
Oh,
and
to be
then the
fair,
rest of it was good.
I didn't
But
even notice because she looked so, like, I was taken aback by how
yeah.
stunningly beautiful she is.
Yeah, she looked beautiful, but yeah, her very first note was off, and somebody posted a meme, and it was just a picture of her, and you say, "If you see this, you know we're gonna start off on a bad note." 'Cause her very
That's
first note
funny.
was like,
That's really
"Ugh."
I
But
it was
yeah.
fine. I honestly, it probably should be one of my beige flags because it was like,
Oh,
"Oh, that's
yeah.
fine."
Yeah.
Um, you know how I felt going into it too. I was like, "Meh, whatever."
Yeah.
Okay, I have to get serious for a minute. And again,
Okay.
apologies for not knowing this cultural piece. But one of the losers post Super Bowl was the shooting at the celebratory Super Bowl parade in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get political. Everyone, if you know me at all, you know how I feel about guns and gun control.
Yeah.
I feel like America is the loser at this point because I don't like that we go into every big event wondering, not even big event. We go into every day wondering, is it going to happen again today?
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart a lot. But the silver lining from, if there ever can be a silver lining from, a shooting that where people are injured and killed, is the way that Chiefs players handled it. There's been tons of stories. Sports Illustrated did a nice little column about what happened, but it was immediately like, how can we help? Can we get to the hospitals to see these kids? There were stories about players and executives shielding people, protecting kids who had been separated from their parents, ushering people into safety. And I don't know. I mean, I wish that didn't have to be the silver. I wish we didn't have to have a silver lining there. But kudos to those people who were in the midst of their celebration after a super long season for, coming to a scary situation and being very selfless in how they handled it.
Yeah. So, I don't mind getting a little political. So I've just been thinking about this a lot. And there was somebody who was just very adamant, it's mental health, it's mental health, it's not the guns, it's not the guns. And I was like, let me put myself in their shoes and give them the benefit of the doubt and look up to see where the United States stands in other violent crimes, in deaths, stabbing deaths, because it should be, if it is just the mental health, then stabbing deaths should be on par. And
Sure.
so of all the countries reported, and I can look up where it was that I was looking at this. So of all the countries reported, we were 112th, I believe, in stabbing deaths per 1,000 people, of all the countries, by country. And then we're 31st in shooting deaths. So
Right.
explain that to me like explain that to me like I'm a child who's afraid of going to school because they might get shot. Like, explain that to me in that way. Because
I agree.
It
It's
doesn't.
maddening. It doesn't match.
I mean,
it doesn't correlate.
I just hate to be the one to be like, you're wrong. And I'm just trying to look at the facts. And I believe also that Iowa has the least mental health beds per capita. So I'm just wondering if we don't care in this state about gun control because we think it's mental health. Why don't we care about mental health in this state? What do we care about? Money? Wealth? The economy?
Hell if I know, Alisa.
I think I'm like a reasonable person and I just don't understand it. There are some things I don't understand. Sourdough bread, I cannot wrap my head around it. I can't wrap my head around like the numbers of sourdough bread. It's just, and I'm a baker. It's just something that I can't sort out. And this is just the other one.
I'll tell you too, since you took the leap. There was something really American about watching the Missouri governor, who has been staunchly against any gun control, being out of this parade celebration where there's just been a shooting, being surrounded by officers and other police presence, and thought to myself, why do you need those guys, buddy?
Right. But I saw somebody that was like, oh, and Kansas City is like, I don't know. They said something about Kansas City being liberal, and I was like, do you know Kansas City's in Missouri, or are we just do we think Kansas City is a state? Do we think there's a Kansas City? Is there a governor for just Kansas City? Like, people think that Chicago is a state. Some people, those people get to vote. So yeah, that's what concerns me.
It just, like, I was so happy for the Chiefs, for Brad, for my daughter, for like just this incredible like story. I know we joked about the storybook ending, but truly for the Chiefs, the storybook ending, and then this happened, and it just like, I'm so freaking sick of it. So sick of it.
Yep.
So
sorry, I'm trying to look and see. I'm trying to look and see where those stats were from. I think I have. Well,
you look. You look while
it's Wise Voter. Wise Voter. It's just a website that collects data.
I'll switch to a happier note. We got to give a shout out to our winner of a friend, Hope Wood, who sponsors the pod and does the Will in a Day program. You've heard us talk about her for a long time now, but go in, take care of your will, get everything handled, be an adult like we all should be. If you go to her website, hopewoodjd.com, use the code Fanatic for $50 off. You can get it at an even more reasonable price. So thanks to Hopewood for sponsoring the pod. Another winner in our list of long winners and losers was the 3-point contest between Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry. So Steph won. Okay, kudos to Steph. However, It was close. It was 29-26. So she was right there. The loser I should also mention that it was a winning event because it was the most watched 3-point contest in 4 years. It got a lot of buzz on social media. It was really cool to see. But then you have Kenny Smith, who I generally find to be pretty entertaining, was all over Sabrina right after it happened for not shooting from the women's line. He said she should have shot from the women's line. That would have been a fair contest. It was a fair contest, you dumbass. She only lost by one shot.
Right. And also, she would have made the finals and tied Dame Lillard for for winning the 3-point contest. They just put her up against like the GOAT,
the greatest shooter of all time. Like, so he also said in the same rant of his that there's a women's tee in golf and there's a men's tee for a reason. Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yes. But she has shown her ability to, in your analogy, hit from the men's tee. So why the hell do you care? And Reggie Miller came to Sabrina's defense and all of our defenses, I might add. He said, why are you putting those boundaries on her? She wanted to shoot from there.
Yeah.
That is how I feel.
So
just shut the
I was trying to figure out what Kenny Smith's record is in 3-point shooting contests. And I don't think he's been in any. And actually, this is funny. So he never made an all-star game. Kenny Smith never made an all-star game. And he was kind of getting clowned by Shaq last night during the game for it. Like they were talking about it and Shaq was just kind of like sticking his tongue out like, you've never made an all-star game. And it's like, oh, sweetheart. Like, I know you're an analyst, but
you're
not a shooter.
Give your takes. Like I'm all about your takes, but make them make sense.
Right.
That one doesn't make sense. And speaking of another take that doesn't make sense, another loser is Jay Williams for refusing to say that Caitlin Clark is great until she wins a national title. This was such a weird moment. So she, like it or not, Iowa State fan, she now owns the record for most points scored in college women's basketball. That is a fact. Like we can set aside all of our rose Iowa State Cardinal colored glasses for a second. She owns that record. I don't know how you can say that she's not a great basketball player. Like there's a lot of great basketball players who never win national titles. There's a lot of great Charles Barkley. Like there's such a stupid take. Make it make sense. You can't.
I know. Okay, I'm really trying to find if he's ever been in a 3-point.
Jay?
Yeah. No, Kenny Smith, if he's ever been in a 3-point. It's hard.
My last winner.
Oh yeah, I forgot about my winners and losers. Wait.
Oh. I already spoiled it. I said it.
Okay, go ahead.
Brittany Griner for having her jersey retired as a Baylor Bear.
Did you notice that there was somebody missing from that?
Yeah, that happens to be my loser. Her name is Kim freaking Mulkey.
I've wondered for so long if she was going to be at that, and I knew she wasn't, but I just hoped that like dignity would prevail. But oh.
Do you have more winners and losers?
Yeah, well, I have. So my red flag.
Let's do it.
Has to do with the All-Star game last night, and it's that no one was passing to Tyrese, and he was on freaking fire. Yeah. I literally went upstairs to pee and came back down, and Arnold was like, "Oh, he has 15 points."
Yeah, he went 5 for 5 from 3 to start the game.
Yeah. I think he had like 33, and Dame had 39. And it was in Indiana, and so the crowd wanted Tyrese to be the winner. He also had a lot of rebounds, a lot of assists. He had a couple turnovers that were just, I would chalk up to him not playing with these guys very often, and you don't know the moves that they're going to make and stuff like that, and not great passes, and everyone's kind of trying to make just silly passes and stuff. He did the behind the back with his elbow. Yeah,
I remember trying to do that pass like on my grandpa's the park at my grandpa's house when I was a kid. It was cool.
But I think that everyone was kind of trying to pass to Damian Lillard, and I think had he been on the other team, like the other team lost by a lot, but also they were just trying to like, nobody really wanted to score a bunch. And so they were kind of just letting everybody have the ball evenly. There were even a couple points where somebody was right under the basket and they just didn't score. And it was like, I think that had he been on the other team, I think that he would have scored 50. I mean, Carl Anthony Towns scored 50 on the other team.
What was the final score in that game? Like 375
It was over
271?
200. Yeah, over 200. And people are like, there's no defense, but like,
That's not the point
also,
of this particular
yeah,
game.
defense isn't a huge thing in the NBA in general. Like, it's fun to watch them do crazy windmill dunks and like
This is it's a platform for them to show off
yeah.
scoring. That's what
And
it is.
you complain that the dunk contest doesn't have any like big stars in it. The guy who won is a G League star, the same guy who won last year. And he's a great dunker. But you complain that the big stars aren't in that, but the big stars are in. I can't think of any huge star that wasn't in the All-Star game. I mean, LeBron was there, Steph was there. They haven't always, wanted to play in that game. But Giannis was there. All the stars are there. Let them kind of show off. It's not a real game, friends. Right. Like, this isn't real.
This is another example of just everyone looking for a reason to be mad.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
It's true. It was fun. I loved watching it. I had fun watching the whole weekend. It was a good time.
Good. My red flag is parents at youth sports events. I am a parent of a youth who plays sports, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, my 6-year-old plays indoor soccer, and it's not high level soccer because these kids are just playing indoor soccer for the first time. They're learning soccer as they go. She's 6. Did I make that clear? She's 6. And this group next to me just wouldn't shut up. Like, and they're not yelling at other kids. They're yelling at their own kid, but like incessantly, like, go here, do that. And she kept looking over at them. Like, what do you want me to do? And oh my God, I cannot. I love sports. I love cheering my kids on. I love helping coach my kids. I love all of it, but this is going to kill me.
I think I saw you tweet that. When you tweet things, do you sometimes secretly hope that the person will see it?
Now I will. This was a family where I was like, I'm pretty sure that they're like, I don't think they're tuned in to my Twitter feed. Just, like, you can kind of tell, like, there's some families that are always in Iowa State stuff. And I'm like, oh, I should be careful, they were probably Hawkeye fans. But yeah, it is an epidemic right now. And I'm getting my feet in the water, my toes in the water for the first time. And I can already tell this is an issue that's going to kill me.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. The good news is we only have like 12 more years to go.
I ran into a listener I went to a game what day did we go? It was last weekend, Saturday, last weekend. And I ran into a listener. I think she said her name was Marty, but saying that out loud, it doesn't sound right. But anyway, she was like, love your podcast.
Oh, that's really nice.
Shout out to Marty.
Thanks, listener.
If that's your name.
That's your name.
If that's your real name.
Do you have a beige flag this week?
My beige flag was, and I missed this when we were talking about it because we also didn't even mention this, the Star Spangled Banner.
Reba. At the Super Bowl?
And I love Reba.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just okay. And Post Malone, just okay.
What did Post Malone sing?
He sang the other song that they sang.
I must not have been. Like God Bless America or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. Just okay. He was I think he brought the two of them down and Reba brought them back up to being just okay.
Just averaged okay?
Yeah. And I love Reba. Love Reba.
Yeah.
But
that's fair. I think
nothing to, I just kind of wished she would have like at the end would have been like,
jazzed it up a little
bit. Works too hard. Like at the end, just give us a little like heart of a fighter.
Just give us a little Reba.
I'm a survivor. Just give us a little bit.
My beige flag is this is just funny to me that this is another example of people being mad just for the sake of being mad. These the Chiefs or whomever, whether it be Tom Brady, Gronk, whatever, partying at the Super Bowl parade.
Oh,
Why do like good for you? Good, you do you. You have beat the hell out of your body for an entire season.
The thing that I love though is that Patrick gets sloppy.
Oh yeah,
like last year tried to give the trophy away to some fan, and then this year they like handed him the trophy and he just like looked at it like, what is this?
Or this year, my personal favorite was at the, you know, like they're doing their speeches.
Yeah.
And he's holding Travis Kelce from falling off the stage, and he's holding Chris Jones from falling off the stage. And I just like, you guys deserve that. You have gone so hard. And there's a lot of, you know, we say the Chads, Dads, and Brads out there. Well, the flip side is like probably the Karens, right?
Right.
There's a lot of Karens out there who are like, you're supposed to be an example for my child, so don't let your child watch the Super Bowl parade. Like, what?
Right.
Like, just let them have fun.
You're mad about that, but it's cool if they like do dog fighting. Like, I don't
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my beige flag. Like, you do
People's outrage is just a little misplaced sometimes.
Most of the time. All right, that's all I got for you today.
Me too. What a good day.
Is it?
Yeah, we're going to turn it around. I'm going to turn this day around.
I'm going to turn this day around.
Turn this car around. Wait. No, that's not the right energy.
All right, let's hope for a good week in Cyclone basketball for
the
men and the women.
Yeah, and you know what is good? It's lunchtime.
Yeah. That's right. All right, Alisa. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Go Cyclones.
Go State.